It had probably been happening long before I noticed, but seeing it was still no conviction for believing it. Some things our brain just can't comprehend because of sheer impossibility. The city is often crowded, with traffic around 7 AM, and I leave my beachside apartment and drive the 30 minutes I need to get to work. First thing I noticed was a big billboard that often stood tall and proud above the 4-lane overpass, about halfway to the office. But nobody noticed. I mean, it wasn't there. If you were used to seeing a billboard, only for it to disappear, you'd be caught back, right? So was I. But again, it's a billboard. With enough money, a team can be assembled to uproot the whole thing in one night. The ground didn't appear disturbed, and since that threatened to dissolve the weak walls in my mind had put up, I ignored it. 5 minutes before I get to work, there's a coffee shop called Moonbeams, where I often stop to fill my flask and get a few pastries to tide me over during the day. Moonbeam had a few other locations and was quite popular locally, but when I drove into the lot, it wasn't the familiar moon logo that sat atop the roof of the small building. It was a bright sun. The name below had changed from Moonbeams to Sunbeams. Now this got my attention. It was very easy to explain the billboard being gone in one night, but the whole branding of a company in one day? I drove towards the drive-in checkout, a favourite among car users like me, although most of the customers prefer to grab at the counter inside. "Hi, how can I help you?" the cheery young woman on the other side asked. I could barely see them, but the speaker jutted out towards the car, carrying their voice to me and mine to them. "Hello, I'd like a... Mr. Ryan? Why didn't you say so? Your usual coming up. Drive on to pick up." "Oh, okay," I frowned. I didn't recognize the girl, but somehow she knew me. I pulled into the pickup spot, and there she was, waiting with the familiar yet strange paperback of Sunbeams. "There you go," she cheered, as I placed the bag in my passenger seat. "Have a great day, sir." "Wait," I called out, and she paused. "What happened to the old name?" She blinked at me, her uniform an oversized yellow and white polo shirt, paired with dark jeans. "What?" Her brows furrowed. "What name?" "The name of this place. When did it change to Sunbeams?" She narrowed her eyes at me before a slow smile moved across her face. "Are you pulling a joke on me, Mr. Ryan?" I shook my head, trying to get her to calm down, but she just kept laughing. Was this coffee chain ever called anything else? I was finally chanced to ask after her laughter subsided. She shrugged. "I mean, they considered calling it Moonbeams a few years ago when it first opened, but nothing came of it. There's been Sunbeams since forever." She narrowed her eyes. "You okay?" I cleared my throat and forced a smile as cars behind me started to honk and drive away. Hours later, I was in another car driven by my good friend and boss, deep in thought, even as the sun's light began to wane. A sharp rap on my wrist drew me out of my melancholy, and I looked into the face of my companion, Harry Cofield. He looked towards the road and addressed me. "Will you be able to make it to the reunion tomorrow?" He'd somehow roped me into helping set up his grandfather's ranch for a reunion tomorrow. We were currently driving down the nearly deserted road on our way back to the city. Longer route, but the barely used roads allowed him to speed. I nodded and paid attention to our surroundings. "Sure, I promised, didn't I?" He hoped a few strangers present would keep the family drama down. He didn't say anything, but then, "You okay? You've been off your game all day." I looked out my window. Either I was going crazy, and all this was in my head, or the world was going crazy, and I just happened to be the one that could perceive it. Either possibility terrified me, but maybe telling someone else would help put things into perspective. I turned to him. "You're gonna think I'm crazy." He snorted. "You are crazy. It remains to be seen how much." He threw me a look. "Lay it on me." I drew a deep breath. Have you ever had a situation where something you were very sure of turned out to be different than you remembered? His brows furrowed. You talking about amnesia? Like you forgot? No. Like a glitch. I looked at him. "Not really," was his brief reply, and I sighed. I was about to say something when we spied a bright light shining through the trees to the right. He slowed as we got closer. It was a small diner. My frown deepened. What was such a small diner doing here in the middle of nowhere? It was one of those old silver structures, and there were lights everywhere. I'd driven down this path at least a few times this month. I'd never seen it. When did this get here? I don't know. It was probably here earlier. But since we passed in the day, we didn't notice? I really doubted that explanation. "We should keep going. It's getting late," I said to him. He was watching the structure with wide eyes. "Are you hungry? We should grab something." "Dude, we ate loads at your Gramps' house. What are you even talking?" But Harry had already left the vehicle and was heading towards the clearing. My gut wrenched so hard I gasped. My instincts told me to get out of this place, and get out now. "Harry."
Subscribe today or beware.